Hello everyone, CPAT here bringing you CPAT's certified banger of the week. Maybe I should have come up with a better name than that in the 2 minutes that I had before the match started. But we have what could potentially be like a finals match right now, just in pools here. We have CMEshai on versus MiX here. These are two players, both very strong. They have pretty good tournament pedigree. CMEshai, of course, won Match of Madness, and MiX got second in the previous Jungy Japes tournament. So, yeah, I mean, let's see what we've got here. What is going on here? Is this allowed? They're doing like weird stuff in the mulligan phase. Technically, CMEshai is supposed to mulligan first, and now they're doing like weird Yomi mind tricks. I mean, he mulled the same 3 cards. It's fine. I have no idea what's going on. CMEshai is like, oh, I'm gonna change my mulligan based on the fact that I saw you mulligan 6. Technically, we don't allow that kind of tomfoolery in this very professional environment that I am making, that I make for these players. But you know what? He mulliganed the same 3 cards. We're cool with it. Matchup: Luciya versus Zsolt. Should be an interesting one. This is the first time ever, maybe, that I'm actually seeing what are considered two of the best characters in the game. Luciya and Zsolt, obviously part of the season 2 Mafia characters that are top tier. Just a little bit overtuned. Luciya with the prep turn 1. Also, yeah, I mean, apparently I was listening in. Oh, interesting. Reading Spike, Zsolt, and gets the dive in. Nice. So interesting, super early reading there, and doesn't. I wonder. So it doesn't even get like a transform or anything out. Like I was expecting with this reading to see something like either a blaze or a whip crack just to get that transform out. But no, just goes for the dive. Opts for range 2 instead of range 4. Okay, interesting enough. Luciya boosting light. So yeah, these two players are kind of different, right? MiX plays extremely fast, and from what I've seen, CMEshai plays extremely slow. And what I was saying, as Way of the Warriors now boosted on Lucia's side, what I was saying earlier was that apparently these guys, CMEshai's won every single time. I'm not sure if that's an urban legend or if that's true or not. But yes, let's see if MiX can get that. If it's true, let's see if MiX can get that first win here. Zsolt boosting light in response. A little bit of boost war going here, maybe. Yeah, there's Ishai with another +4 speed, +2 power. Yeah, definitely a boost war if I've ever seen one. And yeah, Zsolt already down 1 dive. Yeah, let's see what Zolt's response to this is. There's just a little chatter going on. We like that. We like to see chatter. Of course, while it is tournament exceed, it is tournament exceed. We are humans, so it's good to see friendly chatter here, especially because these guys were, frankly, they were trash talking like bots a couple days ago, like actual robots. So find out next time if CMEshai and MiX are human. Okay, this is going to be a move to range 1 into an EX attack from MiX. This is spicy. Could be a lot of different things. Could be probably not Fatal Eye if I had to guess. I don't think it's any of the trans. Obviously, it's not Blaze or Whip. Could it be like Gunblaze maybe? And then just moving to range 1 to not get spiked. It could be that, or it could be like, it can't be sweep or focus. So yeah, I feel like it's EX Gunblaze. No, I don't really know what else makes sense here. Like in theory, could be EX Grasp. Like that's a possibility. could 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 I guess be EX Assault. I don't think it's EX Assault. It's a little bit too risky for MiX. I think MiX likes to play a lot of safe options. In fact, when I was casting the winner's side finals, this was my first ever cast. What I recognized was when things went south for MiX against. I guess I'm gonna spoil that. Calvantis won. Calvantis won when MiX went like off the rails a little bit. He stopped playing safe, and got punished super hard for playing risky. So yeah, I mean I don't know. This to me just feels like Gunblaze though. I don't really see what else this could be. And that's why he moved to range 1 as well, right? So you wouldn't get spiked in response. Although one spike is already down, was red on turn 1 from Zsolt. I don't think it's cross up. CMEshai saying cross up in the chat. I don't think it's cross up. I don't think MiX would willingly throw down an EX cross up instead of. Just looking at the Discord, there's 2 cards there to focus in a Wild Hunt. I don't think MiX would throw down EX cross up here. You really want to get that transformed as soon as possible, Zsolt, because that's the engine for your backside. And if you have EX cross up in your hand, you're just gonna EX transform it. No, you're not gonna toss it into a plus it essentially was a +2 power +2 speed on the other side. Actually, really taking a long time here. Looking at a wild swing. So if we think it is Gunblaze, we can look at the card here. This would be a 1 armor, 7 guards. So there's a bunch of defense on it. It's like loses to not very many things, and Luciya even has Luciya's dropped like EX sweep, for example. So like normals doesn't really lose to him. But yeah, and the power on it it's okay, but it's a really good defensive option, which is why I think that's what it is. Ishay also saying Gunblaze is pretty good. That's what I called it out to be. I wonder what he's thinking if it's not Gunblaze. Yeah, can it be anything else for it's not I. It's definitely not I. It's not cross. It's not any of the specials besides Gunblaze. And like the only we said it could be Grasp or Assault, but I don't think it's Grasp or Assault. I like this. A lot of I like this thinking aloud tech here. Be like, oh, did you make a bad play? I love it. I hope the video comes out in high enough resolution that you guys can actually see the chat here. Ishay also using the tech of MiX. It's late for MiX, so it's actually quite late for MiX. I believe he lives in EU somewhere. So using the tech of using the tech of make your opponent eventually lose to sleep deprivation by taking 20 minutes on this turn. And to be fair, I mean it's a turn that Luciya is invested in pretty heavily. Shay is considering his options. Maybe we should have like a little fast forward thing. Although I guess maybe you guys want to see I'll show you guys the chat. What CMEshai is actually saying here. Let me put the chat on like a dark background so you guys can actually, hopefully you can read that. These are all CMEshai's thoughts. He has completely filled up the chat here. Maybe we even have to make this chat box bigger so that way we can. Alright, yeah, we'll make that actually. Yeah, we'll make the chat box bigger for Ishay to talk his talk, because we definitely want to see that, because Ishay talking his talk is probably the most interesting thing that's happened in this match so far. No slight to either of these players. Actually, slight to both of these players, but Ishe is convinced that it's fast. Okay. Maybe we should turn on timestamps in the chat. Yeah, let's turn on timestamps so we can see how long these decisions take. And oh no, it doesn't retroactively put timestamps on. Unfortunate, but yeah. We are just waiting here. Like I said in the chat, I actually did not say in the YouTube video, I do have something that I need to take care of in like an hour and 15 or so minutes. Wild Swing from Ishe. Spicy. What's... Flip your Wild Swing. Okay. Reveal your Wild Swing. Okay, it's Ride the Lightnings. So it's EX Grasp. Okay, interesting. I will... Huge... Wow! Beating the Downburst. Nice. So yeah, I was totally wrong. It was the EX Grasp. A little bit under curve, but like fine option there. Pushing Luciya to the corner as well, but more importantly, just in case you did not miss it, one of the Ride the Lightnings was dropped in the Wild Swing. Just a little bit unfortunate there. And Zsolt off to an early lead. No transforms yet in play, but Zsolt off to an early lead. Luciya boosting her version of that Guile boost, even though Lucia's came first. Plus 3 speed at the end of your next turn if this card's in play, add to gauge. Just an insanely good boost. Which is wild that this kind of boost exists in the game. As a 0 cost. MiX in response, just prepping. Zsolt, if there's one thing about Zsolt, that's like a little bit of a downside, he does need cards like every other character. And you'll see MiX prep a lot on Zsolt just to make sure his hand is nice and full. Yeah, that EX Grasp though, very very well played. A little bit under curve, because Luciya had 2 speed on him. But okay, CMEshai is telling us that this is an EX attack. These 2 cards are the same card. I wonder if that's going to make a difference, or I wonder if that's a mind game. Right, and if he's not going to shuffle the hand, what a spicy mind game that would be. CMEshai noting that turn 1 reading really messed him up. And I think I've seen MiX go for that play before as well. He goes for the early reading just to get that early advantage in, get early positioning in as well. And of course can on the dive can reposition with frontside Zolt's ability to range 2 as well. So it doesn't have to stay in range 1. Just a reminder here, this is Ishai's turn here. He has the plus 3 speed that will drop to gauge at the end of his turn. Wonder if he strikes with it instead, though. Just thinking about it. I mean, he flipped the EX. Okay, opts to strike with 1 card instead. MiX Wild Swing Spike, and it is the 2nd spike from Ishe. So yeah, lost combat there, but, you know, MiX just mashing prep again. Up to 7 cards. And yeah, I mean, that spike, 6 speed spike at range 2 is pretty good, right? You take those. And you get the... While you don't get this engage, you get that engage. Yeah, MiX preps in response. Again, needs a lot of cards. Or not a lot of cards, but more cards is always nice. And he does have the health advantage and the resource advantage, although now Luciya preps. This is the thing about a lot of these season 2 characters is that while they end on the bang, a lot of them start off kind of slow, and they need time to get their things transformed and become better, become top tier characters. It takes time, you know. Luciya in the corner. Zsolt not too far away. I actually have not played a single game on Zsolt. I've played a couple games on Luciya. I've not played a single game on Zsolt. So I'm actually interested to see. I did cast one of MiX's games on Zsolt. I think I cast 2 of his games on Zsolt actually. But I love seeing how these top players handle their top tier characters. It's really cool. Okay, that's gonna be a range 2 strike. Threatening things like cross up. Other specials are kind of slow in Blaze, and what was the other one? Whip Crack. If he can get that, if he's allowed to get that cross up transformed, that is pretty big. It could just be regular cross, as CMEshai points out, and the regular cross would put him back 3, but then he'd probably step into range 4. Zsolt has an above curve option at range 4 in Blaze of Fervor. Whip Crack also like a very solid option. I mean, speed 4, but you get really good positioning afterwards if you're able to hit with it. And that transform is also pretty good. +1 speed. It's probably the second best one, if I had to guess. I don't know, all of Zolt's transforms are really good. This one's the best because that's what makes Zsolt function as a character. Just being able to get addition, because Zsolt, his backside costs a lot of cards, right? So being able to draw an extra card every combat essentially is just super important to ensuring that the opponent doesn't get to play the game ever. That's what these top tier season 2 characters do in general. They want to make their opponent not play the game. Ishai now, considering why MiX took so long to play that card, I love it. He's thinking about a card with a transform on it, maybe. Assuming that's what he means by the chat. And now we do have timestamps on, so we can see in real time how long these decisions take. Although the timestamps are in a kind of an awkward color. I don't know if that comes off well on the video. I don't think it does. Ishai trying to read this as a whip crack. This would be a spicy whip crack. Speed 4 at range 2 is kind of spicy. Although MiX did just play EX Grass, which was 1 under curve. Whip Crack is 2 under curve, however. I like this Ishai trying to get into the mind of MiX. I believe MiX declined voice chat, and that's why there's so much chatter happening in the chat. Voice chat is not something that's mandatory. I feel like 80% of tournament games happen with voice chat, but CMEshai is a very chatty guy. He's obviously trying to get into the head of his opponent here. And MiX not letting that happen. Big plays. And yeah, we are talking about the psychology of the match because this decision is taking a long time as well. I was thinking of, while we're here and we're not really talking about anything, I was thinking of starting, you know how Tarankin, or D, rather, he had a set of videos that was Gal versus the world, right? I was maybe floating the idea of maybe doing Pookie versus the world, which would be double great because A, Pookie's a bad character, and B, I'm a bad player, so... Okay, block into the cross-up. Okay, gets that first transform down. And like we said before, it's a super important one. Luciya blocks, will probably not take any damage, but the transform out for Zsolt, big combat win there. Big combat win. I like that. MiX just going for it, saying like you don't have too many options that beat like. So one of the reasons why I think MiX actually went for this was because he saw one of the Ride the Lightnings drop. Ride the Lightning is a card that just beats everything basically. Speed 8 and you run away really, really far. As Ishai just preps on Luciya here. So yeah, Ride the Lightning, just like if your cross-up gets hit by Ride the Lightning, you are incredibly sad. Okay, and MiX in turn boosting Battle Instincts, your force engage costs are reduced by 2. So he's threatening the Exceed here. And he basically wants Luciya to strike into this, because this includes the Exceed cost. So the Exceed cost would be 3, and now the Exceed cost is only 1 with this boost. So he's kind of threatening Luciya to strike, and Luciya will strike with a preemptive, however. So we'll get +2 speed, deciding what to validate that with. Looked at the gauge, but having second thoughts about it. So yeah, this card, while it looks kind of, and to me as well, when I was newer, it looked to me like this card doesn't do very much. No, this card's very good. This card reduces gauge cost of everything, so ultras and of course the Exceed action. And when Zsolt exceeded, you're not in for a fun time. And as we've stressed many times before, Battlefield already in play. Okay, so Ishai does end up spending the gauge for his preemptive, and looks like they're flipping an EX attack. We saw this was an EX attack, so we've lost all hand information now. Looks like the players are experiencing a little bit of lag there. That's the CPAT special. EX Gunblaze in response to... Ishe says, nice try in the chat. And responds with... EX Bug Zapper. Okay. I mean, yeah. Gunblaze will hit. So Bug Zapper, of course... This card, spend up to 4 force for each force spent advance 2. And we know from Luciya's front side that each time she moves past the opponent, Luciya will do 1 non-lethal damage and get a bunch of gauge. She gets a gauge each time. So Luciya will have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. She has to advance in even number space. I'm assuming that she spends the full force here because she'll get it back as gauge. We'll do 7 damage, minus 1 armor. We'll do 6 damage, and MiX will either MiX will either hit back for 6 or it'll hit back for 4, or 3 and 5. Excuse me. So yeah, MiX will take 5 damage, and Gunblaze will hit for, and MiX chooses to take the damage. I don't know what Ishe... I don't know why Ishe is confused. Maybe he's not confused. Maybe he's just doing something. But yeah, this looks correct. You get 4 gauge back for coming back 4 times. It's the power of Luciya, just building a lot of gauge. It looks fine to me. We've got the CPAT approval, which means so much to both these players. And yeah, MiX opting for the damage over the card draw, which is actually interesting. So we'll opt for +2 power of the 2 cards. MiX just prepping. I'm assuming Luciya will do the same, or she could, in theory, exceed. So when Luciya exceeds, I forgot this last time. I believe it's you drop your hand to your gauge and refill your hand to 5. So Luciya could exceed here. A little bit expensive though, and only has the Thunderclap transformed. Okay. Yep. Luciya will spend... Okay, so this is a little bit of a trick here. Luciya will spend 2 force to cross over with the Ultra. When Luciya crosses over, she will do 1 non-lethal damage and add the top card of discarded gauge. As MiX exceeds, big moment here. Hunter of Men, the Menace is out. So going on what we're talking about here. Okay, so this is interesting. Luciya just liking that trick. So this will go to the discard, and then when Luciya crosses over, she has the top card of the discarded gauge. So she does like a free 1 damage. But now Zsolt is now the Hunter of Men. Look at this bad boy here. Up to twice per turn after executing an attack that hit the opponent, you can spend 1 force to execute an additional attack that the opponent cannot respond to. That while it does only 1 damage, like it adds up. You can do things like retreat and then hit them with a spike to pop their armor guard, and stun them. Like there's just so many little tricks here that you can do with Zsolt to make sure the opponent does not get to play the game. And on top of that, all of Zolt's cards do things like add advantage. When he gets advantage, he draws a card. So obviously this maneuver is quite expensive, right? It spends force, and you execute an additional attack from hand. So this costs, right? There's cost here. But Zsolt having that battle fugue in play kind of it's super important to the Zsolt engine. The Zsolt engine does not function nearly as well without it. Okay, Ishe surmising that this face down is cross going into the transforms, which makes sense to me. I was going to say that, but unfortunately we got caught up a little bit in explaining what Hunter of Men actually does. Yeah, and this makes sense to me exactly for the reason that Ishe has outlined. Okay, interesting. Opts for Fatal Eye. So we'll get advantage off that. Opts for... Okay, so on top of that, we'll put a sweep down, discarding Mana Strike from the hand, no longer can be EX transformed. which was basically the only way this was going to transform anyway. Okay, just opts for the discard and then preps. So not nearly as high value as a typical Zsolt turn, but still super good, right? He gets to replace the Fatal Eye, so it doesn't cost too much, and he gets to pull a card. Luciya in turn boosting +3 speed. Zsolt using the move action was initially trying to go for this boost, the move one, take another action, which we saw MiX use earlier, but instead opts to discard a block. Not looking to parry too much, interestingly enough. Discards the block to move to range 2. MiX is set up here. Let's see what Luciya can do in response. Does have a ton of resources with that 4 gauge. Maybe that little bit of that slow play of CMEshai did spend 2 turns of just like moving back and forth. So now low on cards. While that move doesn't really do right. So the downside is you don't lose anything. The upside is, the upside is you don't really lose anything, right? No resources were spent. You draw a card at the end of your turn. The downside of that kind of slow play is that, well, now you only have 3 cards in hand, right? Where you could have 5 if you prep twice. So interesting decision there from CMEshai. Obviously, he had his reasons for doing so, and I'm not calling it out as a bad play. I'm just kind of seeing, okay, well, Luciya's only down to 3 cards in hand, unfortunately. How will she handle this? And this +3 speed, we should remember that belt spikes are down. One was red on turn 1, and the other one was used on the other whirlwind boost. So belt spikes are down here on the Luciya side. So that part of the mix-up is missing. We stress this every time in our videos, but it's super important to look at the discard and see what parts of your mix-up are missing, or what part of your opponent's mix-ups are missing. And in turn, you should do that yourself. So yeah, MiX just saying, okay, this block is fine, like it's free, no spike, right? So MiX will get hit with a 4 damage assault, will block it all, replaces his gauge essentially. A little bit of moot combat there. I wonder if this is okay. No, this is gonna be Luciya going for that slow play again, saying, okay, I'm fine with this little hand. And we have an EX coming out, and there's not too many EXs left here. We can take a quick look here and see. It's not EX Fatal Eye, it's not Cross Up. Blaze of Fervor does not hit, Whipcrack does not hit, Gunblaze was already spent. So this is EX Assault, probably, if I had to guess. Speed 6 EX Assault would be just saying to Luciya, hey, you don't have the second Grasp or the second Ride the Lightning in hand, which is pretty... It's a little risky, but that seems okay to me. I mean, I'm assuming this is EX Assault. I don't really see what other EX it could be. Oh, it could be, it could be EX Cross, Speed 7. I don't believe we've seen a Cross come out from the MiX side. So we've got a little bit of a mix up here. EX Cross, Speed 7, EX Assault, lower damage but higher payoff, Speed 6. Both lose to Red Lightning. Well, actually, no, both don't lose to Red Lightning. Red Lightning will put Luciya here in the corner, and MiX will be able to hit no matter what. Okay. Okay. CMEshai is saying this is Cross. Wild Swing in response. And it is EX Cross. Beats the Wild Swing Downburst. So Cross will back Zsolt up to range 3, in which case he'll do Zsolt things. He will transform Blaze of Fervor, advance 3, move past the opponent to gain advantage, Zsolt things. And I think he's going to be happy with that. Yeah. So we'll do 5 total damage, 4 off the EX Cross, and 1 with the Blaze of Fervor here. We'll cross over to gain advantage. Draws a card off the advantage, of course. The only meaningful decision here is to see whether Blaze of Fervor needs to be transformed or needs to be used as fuel for the machine. And that's what he's thinking about right now. And I think both decisions are fine. Zsolt is on the verge of killing Luciya here. Just needs a little bit more. And yeah, and decides to not transform Mad Dog. Instead opts for prep. So thinking, I have a big enough life lead here that I don't need the extra power off Mad Dog. Give me that extra gauge that I can use as force for Hunter of Men, which makes sense to me. Luciya striking in response. It's focus. So focus will mitigate most of the damage. Draw Mix a card. Luciya gets to go back to range 4. Let's see what happens from here though, because this is definitely looking like advantage Zsolt here. It's been looking like advantage Zsolt for a while here. But let's see what Luciya's plan is going back to range 4. Only has 2 cards in hand, so kind of a small hand and kind of a small deck as well. So a lot of known information out there. MiX using the focus, so not going for reading here. Just wanted to mitigate damage with focus instead. That's interesting to me. I thought MiX might want to go for the reading, although with only 2 cards in Luciya's hand, there's not a lot you can read in the first place, right? But yeah, this is kind of an interesting juncture here. Range 4, so from Luciya's side, you have cards like not Downburst, not Talon Sweep. You have cards like Mana Strike and Firefly Gunner. Both of them are down. So only Mana Strike and the Ultras, Skies of Flame. MiX retreating to range 8. I love it. I love it. So if we look at this, we are threatening Wild Hunt here. And MiX actually has Wild Hunt confirmed in hand. We saw it. I love it. Let's see what Luciya's response is, and we can look at Wild Hunt real quick. Wild Hunt is a close 8 for each space moved, advance as far as plus 1 power. Then you advance to the other side of the screen. So yeah, this is what's being threatened here. Luciya will have to spend some amount of force to move in, because there's no way she can deal with that. I believe she's also I don't think she's out both blocks, but she's out 1 block. And yeah, we saw the Wild Hunt in hand, because MiX originally wanted to boost with it, but now is threatening it as his win con. So that's interesting. Interesting how the game works here. And yeah, this is going to be Luciya spending force, spending a dive from hand, moving to range 5. So range 5 is safe because of Skies of Flame. Skies of Flame is a 5-speed Ultra, so that beats out the Wild Hunt. I like that. Like forcing Luciya to spend a little bit of resources, although she has a ton left in gauge here. She's 5 gauge. I wonder if you play it anyway. Just dare Luciya to have it. I don't know if it's worth throwing away the lead there, but you could in theory just dare Luciya to have the Skies of Flame and face down it anyway. That's a play you can make. Zsolt can't really hit from range 5 super well besides that. Okay, but Zsolt opting for a safer play. Saying I don't want to take my win percentage chances here. It just opts to move to range 4. Where hey, Skies of Flame still 5 speed, still dominant on Luciya's turn. However, Zsolt obviously has Blaze of Fervor on his side, also 5 speed. MiX actually down a lot of options as well. Both these players are really going deep through their decks. Luciya has 8 cards left, 2 in hand, 6 in deck. And MiX has 2 in deck, 5 in hand. So I don't know if reading is a threat from the Luciya side. I think we only saw the one focus played. So chances are low for reading in this hand, but chances are high that the reading hits. But also, reading would spend an additional resource, and Luciya's out of hand resources. She would need to spend some of this gauge to like change cards, or she would need to spend the gauge to exceed. Very, very interesting stuff. This is super. Like I'm so like as someone who doesn't play. Oh, interesting. And Luciya opts to move back to range 5. Okay, so we're gonna see a little bit of a song and dance here. I feel like MiX doesn't have Skies of Flame in hand, but you know you could, and it could lose him the game. But you know, a little bit of a dance here. Just the threat, I think, is enough for MiX to act right. You don't, in this game and in Yomi, you don't need to have the threat in hand to threaten it. You just need to pretend like you do. You need to be a good actor. So that's one of the things I enjoy about both Yomi and Exceed. Although you definitely see it more in Yomi, but that's one thing I definitely really enjoy in the mind games there. MiX looking at that discard. I also, I'm an idiot. Range 5 is also Ride the Lightning range. I forgot. This has an advance 4, or close 4, excuse me. So Ride the Lightning would go 1, 2, 3, 4, pop them here, and then move them here. So both the Ultras are speedy. One's significantly faster than the other, however, but both of them are the dominant options as far as speed is concerned at this range 5. I wonder if you opt to something like... I wonder if you opt for like a reshuffle here, if you're MiX. I don't think... Actually, no. If you wanted to reshuffle, you would on it last turn, right? You wouldn't do it this turn. So I feel like we're not going to see that happen. You'd reshuffle last turn over this turn because there's one... Ooh. Oh, interesting. MiX spends an Ultra to move as 2 force to move back 1. And Luciya moving back to range 5. Yep, here's the song and dance that we predicted. I love seeing this. This is so cool. Like MiX EX transforming the Whip Crack, which is super important because now, when MiX initiates, he has +1 speed. We see the hand of Wild Hunt, Blaze, Fatal Eye, and Dive in the hand of Zsolt here. Luciya immediately deciding to strike off that. Probably an RTL here. MiX draws the block. It's the Manish Strike. Okay, not quite the Red Lightning, but yeah, Manish Strike makes sense. Get that card transformed. Zsolt will obviously opt to take no damage. Although now that Wild Swing super good. That life lead maintained, and now look at this. Like bad things are gonna happen. Although MiX doesn't have a ton of cards in hand, we opts for a +1 speed on his strike. MiX very graciously offering this. Like I don't know why MiX wrote. Well, first of all, MiX, I love this. He wrote down 5. He wrote down 5 instead of 4 here. I love that. It should be Ishai's responsibility to write down what cards he has. Like I would be tight-lipped here. But yeah, as we saw the hand was Blaze of Fervor, Fatal Eye, and Dive were the 3 cards that were left. The +1 speed does give you a little bit of a mix-up here between Blaze of Fervor and Eye. I don't really know why that mix-up is viable. Obviously, this is just the 8-speed Eye here for the +1 speed in 98% of cases. But in theory, there is like a little bit of a mix-up here. It could be Blaze of Fervor. And the +1 speed is just to ward off Luciya from using the Ride Lightning on defense here. Because the Eye would be speed 8, which beats the speed 8 on offense. I don't think it's that, but that's the kind of play I would make. That's also the kind of play that makes me lose games in Exceed, but it's cute, right? It's cute. And guess if you're Luciya down 8 life, it's a tough call to play Ride the Lightning here. It's a really tough call to play Ride the Lightning. Luciya opting the Wild Swing. Cross loses to the Eye. So this will be a 3 damage Eye for each card in your transformation area. You get +1 power. And Zsolt says that's enough. Okay, +1 speed again. And that's the card that he just drew. So MiX played the card. MiX did not shuffle his hand. He played the card he just drew. That's scary. That's scary stuff right there. Surely it's not the second Eye, but the way he played that and the way he called the +1 speed, that is scary. I love it. He just says, you didn't draw the second one, right? That's illegal. I agree, it is illegal. But hey, man, this is Exceed, right? This is not chess. RNG is a factor in this game. And your role as a tournament player in this game is to maximize your chances around that, right? But wow, surely you didn't draw the second eye here. You kind of have to play RTL on defense, right? Here, if you're Luciya, I feel like you do. None of Zolt's range 4 options are armor. Oh, gun. It could be Gunblaze in theory, which hits the Ride the Lightning. Yeah, I mean, the unfortunate part about this part of the mix-up for CMEshai is that he's just at the mercy of Mix's deck, right? Um, the range 4 option that does... Zsolt has a range 4 option that beats Ride the Lightning, and that is Gunblaze. Which is crazy, right? Isn't that wild? Normally, the Gunblaze would not... Oh, the Gunblaze would kill. Gunblaze would kill. Because it has the +2 power on it. Wow. I love it. I love this mix-up. It is super frustrating to play against. This is actually one of the reasons why I don't really enjoy this game so much playing it. It's just because a lot of the mix-ups sometimes are not really mix-ups. They're just like you're at the mercy of your opponent's deck, right? And this is one... This is probably the biggest prime example of that in a game that I've casted. Or maybe it's just that the first one I've noticed where I'm like super paying attention to the game, because these are two top players, and I am here to learn. Class is in session, I'm here to learn, right? We don't have the office in the background today. So our full attention is on the game. I'm also feeling fresher today as well, so hopefully I can catch some of these things for the viewers, and hopefully you guys can catch some things that I miss as well. Ishii thinking really hard on what was essentially a wild swing from MiX. So, yeah. Ishii pointing out the Gunblaze strike, also funny. We pointed that out as well. Although the gun, yeah. Wild swing from Luciya. Okay. It is the second eye. Oh no. Oh no, it's the second eye. Yeah, MiX will do MiX things, and he'll hit with dive, and he'll with Blaze of Fervor, and then we'll hit with dive, and that's lethal. Game 1, going to MiX's Zsolt. Wow. Super, super hype. Yeah, MiX saying that he was... RNG was on his side. I definitely agree. But, yeah. Like... Yeah, the EXs that MiX had on top of what just happened in the past 10 minutes. Yeah, MiX definitely saying that luck was in his favor, but that's Exceed, man. The deserving player. And I'm not claiming MiX wasn't the deserving player. But you know, the better player does not win 100% of the time, right? I'm not claiming MiX is the better or the worst player, but RNG was definitely on MiX's side, and he was able to leverage that to what looked like a pretty dominant win. The win, if RNG wasn't on MiX's side, the game would have looked a lot closer. Yeah, these guys do a lot of chatter. I love it. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully it catches. I should have tried recording this match in 1080 instead of 720, so maybe you guys can catch some of what's going on in the chat here. Oh, are they done? Is that it? Are we just getting a little tease? Well, looks like it is just a little tease. Really super interesting game to watch here between MiX and Ishai. Unfortunately, it is just game one. We will be seeing game two and game three at a later date. If they indeed do play Sunday, if they're playing like Sunday afternoon, I unfortunately will probably not be able to catch that. Hopefully, someone else like maybe like Migo or like someone else who's been recording will be able to catch that and give you the thrilling conclusion of the set. But man, judging by that first game, we are in for a fun set. And like I said, these are two very strong players, both of them likely to make top four. Even if one of them loses here, I think it's feasible to say that these are both top four players. And hopefully we will be seeing another match between these two titans of Exceed. But yeah, that was CPAT's certified banger of the week. We will continue with that name, although just the appetizer. We will catch the main course and the dessert maybe on another channel another time, unless they play Sunday night. If they play Sunday night, I'll be able to cast it, but if they don't, then I won't be able to. But thank you guys so much for joining me on this wonderful adventure between two top players, and we will catch you guys for the next one. Bye bye. Oh, I forgot the plug. If you enjoyed the content, obviously leave a like, drop a comment, hit the bell, subscribe. I haven't gotten a handle on how to say those in an order. Maybe I should have like a catchphrase or something. Maybe we'll have, this week we improved by adding the characters to the screen. Maybe next week we'll do that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the game as much as I did, and we will see you next time. Bye bye.